Dweller, and we are back with more Stranded Alien Dawn, continuing our newly minted playthrough of the Family Empire. We just survived a very mild Scarabee attack in the previous video. See, this is what I'm talking about. No survivor has the required skill to construct even a stone fence. I lied to myself. We're off to a great start. It is time to make some changes. There are 3 things that I realized after completing the last playthrough that I wanted to adjust. So the first one is traps. I want to lay some traps if we're going to have this type of fencing for the time being. We're going to want a little bit more defense up until we can actually upgrade or reconstruct these as a tougher material. That said, let's go ahead into our defense menu, grab our traps, and start laying some. So I think just a general parameter, and I think I'll start like here, and then we will copy these and just kind of go in the other direction. And these aren't going to go to waste because once we build a more permanent settlement, these are going to come with us. We're going to move them wherever it is that we need them to be. So we're going to lay these traps out. They're gonna build them hopefully soon, and then we'll be ready for the next wave. The other thing I really wanted to change was our research cube, because we have a dog in the vicinity and we were just about to butcher and dry out some meats for taming, but none of that's gonna matter if we don't research taming first. So I'm gonna go ahead and queue that up, and then we're gonna add these 2 things back to the list. I think we need farming 3 or greater for taming to be successful. So let's go ahead and look here. I think that we have, Krista, farming 3 with Krista. So she would be able to do the taming, and she would be the only one currently capable of taming the dog. All of that out of the way, I know there was 2 of the 3 things that I wanted to do. The traps, research queue. The 3rd thing was actually butchering and hanging the meat out to dry to make sure that all these things get done, but we'll get there. First and foremost, we have some people bleeding to death, so we might want to tend to that. Katina is in the process of healing her, which is terrific. Katina is also recovering from our attack, but at least she's already stopped the bleeding with some self-heal. And while those 2 over there doing that, what is Krista up to? She is back to crafting. We were having some issues last playthrough with some hypothermia, but I think what I want her to do is actually that 3rd thing on my list that I really wanted to knock out when I came back in here. So let's go ahead and do that. And that is going to be this Dromeda. So let's send her over here, get those meats, and start drying them so that we can do some animal taming. I'm going to fly back over here for a second. We do have the option to craft some healing bombs, and we do have a lot of glitter caps. So I'm gonna go ahead and queue us up to craft as many as 60 of these. And what else can we craft? Bandages, not yet. We don't have the materials. Trade goods, we could be making out of spare building materials. Once we have an excess of those and our building is mostly done, then I'll add the star cube, but for the meantime, I don't think so. And we're not gonna do animal fats out of raw red meats. I think if anything, we're gonna want to create our oils and fats out of the insect meat, but first we'll need to research to know how to do that. So that's something else to keep in mind for our research queue. It's not really an option yet. We first have to find cloth. We will get there. It's all in the back of my head. We will get there eventually, but right now I'm just worried about their initial survival before we can worry about being profitable. And we are only on day 6, really, so we haven't gone that far. We're not really behind. We do have the option, if we so choose, to hire someone. And I do want to at least post a job offer, and we'll see if anybody responds to it. The sooner the better, perhaps, to have more hands on deck to help get us moving. That might actually be more beneficial than not. And I think I see we do have another injured animal down here that we would be able to take advantage of. Paulette butchered the Dromeda and then just left it on the hill. That's unacceptable, Paulette. Why would you do this? I'm gonna send her back over here to pick that up and have her haul that. And then Katina, is she super hungry? She's really not. I guess she just finished eating, so we're gonna have her bring in the hide as well, which leaves Krista, who is in recovery. So once she's done, I think we'll be able to get her busy on repairing this fence. They may not be the greatest defenses, but better than no defenses at all. And the trade colony ship, that's right. This had originally contacted us a while ago, but we've decided that juice is not worth the squeeze because the fuel we would waste sending this up to do a trade deal would not be worth the exchange we would be making. I'm gonna fast forward us just for now. We are in a heat wave, so I don't think we have to worry about hypothermia. We might have to worry a little bit about heat stroke, but for the time being, I think their wardrobe will suffice comparative to how they were handling the cold snaps anyway. So far, I think all three girls have equally been pulling their weight. Krista has done the vast majority of constructing. Regardless of how little it may be, it is better than none at all, which is what Katina and Paulette are capable of. And then Paulette definitely pulled her weight when it came to that round of combat because she is the only armed member of the family, and Katina following through with the heals at the end of that altercation. So yeah, I would say that they're shaping up to be a decent team. They may not be strong in every area, but they're strong enough to survive. So that's not nothing, folks. That's something. And it looks like we have dawned a new day. We are on day 7, which means they've technically been on planet now for 1 whole week. I hope we haven't lost the dog. Like we harvested all of this meat just so that we could tame ourselves the boxer, and now I don't know where he is. Am I looking in the right direction? I feel like I am. There he is. Found him. There is our boxer friend. I think I'm gonna set Katina to research since unfortunately I can't ask Krista to. She's doing all of this very necessary construction. When you have 2 very valuable functions, you kind of gotta like trade off, you know? And Krista right now has 2 very valuable functions, and the trade-off is that Katina's gonna have to pick up research while Krista is constructing. Oh no, where was the dog? I already lost him again. Here we go. Is this a different dog? Are there 2 boxers here? Hold on, because I feel like, unless, yeah, here he is. You are not telling me that this reptile is the boxer, right? You're not trying to say that, right? They're saying, is there a dead boxer? Oh no, there is. There's a dead dog under here. No. Okay, well, it's a different dog. Because I for sure just saw another one though, right? Like there absolutely was another boxer over here somewhere. I'm sure of it, there was another one. And now we have the resource dried meat. Where is this dog? Where is this dog? Here. Here's the other one. This one is not dead, guys. Okay, so after that scare, I can confirm there is a living boxer still here in our seed. So we have the opportunity, as long as it doesn't disappear before we've researched animal taming, we have the option to tame said dog. I'm gonna actually draft her and sit her out here next to it because it is frightening to not be able to find him. It's giving me anxiety. And so I'm gonna just set somebody on a dog watch for now, just to make it easier on myself. Krista is doing the research and she had a research insight. What does that mean? We are capable now of animal taming, which means I actually do want Krista out here taming the boxer. So here the dog is. Here Krista is doing her research. Let's go ahead and assign her to taming, and then we can undraft Paulette now that we're ready. I may not be very verbose this morning, and I apologize, but we'll get where we're going. One way or another, we'll get there. So here we are with the dog taming. And taming succeeded. That's great news. We now have ourselves a dog. Terrific. And we are going to make it trainable. We are going to name it. Let's just go with, I don't know, colors. We'll do red. And if we get another dog, we'll do green. And if we get another dog, and so, we'll do the colors of the rainbow. And red is going to need somewhere to sleep. So we'll have to work on that. We'll lead red to here. And I think sleep-wise, let's see whether or not we can fit. I think it's not going to fit inside these fences because unfortunately I've just built them too close. But we'll stick it out here by the wood chopping block. I think that's as cozy as it's going to get for right now. Again, all of this is temporary. We just got to get those construction skills leveled up and we can do a much better build. In fact, I think if we do manage to hire somebody on, they're going to be a little bit disappointed with the work environment. But that's why they're getting hired, to help us improve it. So we'll see. We'll see who comes along. I'm gonna have to put a pause on this, even though I think that these are gonna be great for selling, but I do have other things I would much rather Paulette be making right now. And scavenging. Who do we have scavenging? I believe Katina's job was to scavenge. Let's look. Let's take a look here. We'll revisit our management tab. As far as scavenging goes, yeah, that's Katina's. So if she's not cooking, she should be scavenging and then doing the planting, ranching, harvestings, etc. Paulette, if she's not crafting or tailoring, she should be doing mining and cutting. So yeah, I think putting a pause on crafting right now so we can get some more material is kind of important. Oh, we do need for our puppy though. All dogs are puppies. Don't come at me with like, that's a full-grown dog. They're all puppies. I don't make the rules, but we are going to add a feeding trough here because how else are we going to feed our dog? Once you domesticate them, they lose all natural instinct to fend for themselves and to be able to eat in the wild. Like they just forget. What do we need most though? I think we're looking pretty good clothing wise. The only person who doesn't have a jacket is Paulette. So maybe I'll add a jacket, just one, to the queue so that Paulette can have a jacket. And she's bringing in Red right there. Look at that. So here we have Katina leading Red back to base, and that is awesome. So now we don't have to worry about the dog off in no man's land starving because they tend to do that. Krista is researching and that's fine, and Paulette is doing some handling tasks, which is also great. But it also makes me think that if she's handling, then I don't have any cutting or mining queued up for her, and that's something I would like to fix. So let's go ahead and select this area for cutting. And actually, let's also cut the bushes too, not just the trees, so that we have plenty of sticks and plenty of timber. And then for mining, I'm gonna queue up all of this over here, and hopefully that will give us a good stash. And we've researched weaponsmithing. Thank you, Krista. So I will now be able to add to our crafting table to craft weapons, which would be phenomenal. We need 2 bows because the other 2 sisters, and then we need 3 spears because all 3 of them could use a melee weapon. So that'd be great. Hunting is not on anybody's queue. A 4th person would be great to add some basic handling and hunting task to their queue. I think since that doesn't look like we're gonna be able to do that anytime soon, I'm going to add it as a number 2 to Katina, just so that we can try and get somebody out here. Who slept outside? Why would they be sleeping outside? Katina must have fainted. That's not great, unfortunately for her. She's exhausted, so I suppose we will give her a break. She did spend like the whole night leading the dog back to camp, so that might be why. All right, so now that she's back, she's gonna promptly get right back up, go figure. But that's okay, because she's gonna get something to eat and then probably go right back to sleep, which is what she needs to be doing, honestly. They're getting some negative buffs for food variety, and that's because they've been eating emergency rations for a week. So we're gonna have to add something new. And now that we've harvested some grain, I think having grain porridge on the menu gives them some variety to choose from. Do we know what this is? We have researched it, so we're gonna go ahead and harvest it. I'm gonna add it to our harvest queue. And since we've also researched grain cob, I think it's time we plant some. And this is a great place to plant it because we are looking at 100% growth in this soil. So here would be a terrific spot. Let's start here and let's do a nice 5x10 grain cob field. So let's start with that. And while we're at it, since we have glitter caps researched, we could add these 2. So let's add some glitter caps as well. We could do, again, a 5x10. We can always expand if we decide that we could certainly benefit from more. So in other play modes, I noticed like having a huge farm wasn't exactly beneficial because you would end up creating a lot of waste. But in this play mode, in sow and sell play mode, a lot of your excess material is going to become your export. So that's actually good. It's making a larger field might be like inevitable at this point, but I'm just gonna start with this for now and then we'll go from there. We are sort of in a situation where we need the ladies to be prioritizing their time as smartly as possible. So that gives us, there's another dog here. Okay, totally interrupted my thoughts, but come on, this dog is just here. It's just sleeping right here. We need to tame this. How much dried meat do we have? Like none, because we're probably putting it all in here. We are in the process of drying some. So now when we dry this, I will have the opportunity to tame this dog. Mark it for taming. Thank you, thank you. And we have 15 dried meat now. So Krista, if you wouldn't mind interrupting your studies for a moment just to tame this extra dog for us. Yay, that happened a lot faster than I expected it to. I'm actually really excited because we're about to have 2 dogs. Of course, it's going to create like 2 more mouths to feed, and I am not the best when it comes to hunting this game. I tend to make that sort of a last resort situation, so I'm definitely going to have to change up my playstyle to suit fending for these dogs. It's a little unusual for me. I'm not much of a combat forward player in this kind of game. I'm more of like a let's thrive kind of player. Okay, we're gonna turn taming on for this dog, and we're gonna name it, of course. And we had mentioned before when we named Red that we're gonna name the next one Green. So this dog's name is Green, and could make it cuter, could make it greeny. So Red and Greeny. Oh, I'm gonna just ignore that for a second. Look, this little hungry dog, even though we just fed it to tame it, is already like chowing down at the trough. Oh, we need another bed, and let's set it here, and then we can like assign these. I'll do that once the second one is built though. So she's transporting, she's researching, she's eating. After she's done eating, I'm gonna have her harvest this so that we can then build the bed. And Red can have the first bed because that was technically already Red's bed. And then we'll assign the second bed for Greenie. We haven't really heard back though from the job posting, so we just might not get a hit after all, but we'll see. It is day 10. I believe we sent that message out on day 7, so it's been 3 days, and they keep the job posting live for 5 days. So we do have a couple more days left before it becomes null and void. Yeah, these 2 dogs are so cute. Look at them. Aren't they just precious? Love it, love it, love it. That actually was a really cool, beautiful view, beautiful shot. And let's see what the ladies are doing. So that's clearly Paulette doing target practice. It'd have to be because she's the only one with a weapon. Paulette, before you sleep, if you could construct this animal bed, because we do want our pets to also have somewhere to sleep. And how are we doing on traps? We've got this first row done, and we've got 3 spares over here in this corner. If we're trying to steer the animals to attack from one specific side, by that I mean lining our people up here, if that's successful and they don't just chew their way through the fence to get to us on this side, if they're actually going around, I might move some of these and double down on the side that we're fighting from. We'll test this out with the next animal attack and see what happens. All right, so Krista is the first up, and she's gonna grab a bite to eat. Actually surprising, since she stayed up later doing the research for so long. I really need construction materials, specifically scrap metal. So I think I'm gonna ask Katina to do some scavenging first thing. We're gonna move on to the next pile of scrap. We did not look at the breakthroughs in the first video, so let's look at that now. For this seed, we have the hay sausages, we have printed components, graphene solar cells, and improved laser pistols carbon armor. Available for research now, like without having to meet some kind of prereq, is the hay sausages, which takes 3 days to research, and I also don't feel like this is super pressing. So I might queue up some other things first that I think are a little bit more useful before we get to here, but it's great for adding variety to our diet, which at some point we might need. Like I was mentioning before, I would much rather study the oil extraction so that we can get to insect fats. Actually, what we need is cloth, so let's research that. With our observation skills, Krista, I'm gonna actually disrupt you to observe some cotton blossom straight ahead where we first not crash landed, but where we first dropped off. So I'm gonna ask her to come out here and observe these, because I do think that that's like the next thing we really need to progress. Also, I think this is grain grass, which we could also benefit from researching. So when she's done scavenging, I'm gonna cue her to observe this. And then, Paula, when you're done crafting that weapon, I'm gonna bring you in to feed the dogs, because we gotta make sure that they stay fed. I promise to be a good pet owner. Like that is on my list of priorities, I swear. We are now looking at, oh my gosh, we are looking at a beautiful view. Forget what I was about to say. Let's just take a look at this for a second, because wow. Just wow. So pretty. We have a new threat, aggressive animals, and they are coming from the opposite side this time. So we are gonna get the opportunity to test our theory here with sort of lure them around the fence toward the other side where we're gonna have our traps laid. To test this theory, I think we're gonna have to bring these traps over here. Well, actually not even for the sake of testing it, but merely for the fact that they're probably going to come across here and up this side, and this side is this side with no traps. So we're gonna move the ones we do have over here to try and give ourselves some coverage. And once she's done moving all 4 of those traps, then she can resume her queue with feeding the dogs. We are in a heat wave. It is 97 degrees outside, but I think they all can handle up to Paulette 102 degrees, Krista 111, and Katina 122. And hopefully she will be all right for this fight that she's gonna have to she's gonna have to take it on herself because her sisters are not armed. So we kind of need her not to be passed out with heat stroke for this fight. That would be bad. That'd be very bad. So fingers crossed that that's not gonna happen right before our Scarabee attack our paltry little fences. At least now it's two layers deep. So maybe that'll buy us just a little bit more time than last time. And hopefully our dogs, who are not trained at all, will stay out of harm's way, because I definitely have noticed in playthroughs in the past, dogs that aren't trained, they will attack unstrategically and end up just getting bulldozed. And then you're one less doggy. So I really hope these two are just sensible and run from the fight and don't try to engage, because I only have Paulette to sort of like shoot down the enemies, and that's one at a time. There are 16, so yeah. Okay, so she's observing the grain grass. She observed the clown blossom, which is fine. I'm gonna add it to our list of things to harvest, but I'm not gonna send anybody out there to do that just yet because realistically, we're gonna get attacked soon. So we're gonna need her to come back to base, which I believe she is doing. She's coming back to construct, yeah, because Katina did scavenge for some scrap metal and she already placed it down for the traps to be constructed. So it's not that we don't have any, it's that it's already been allocated. Okay, and here comes the animal attack. So we're gonna bring Krista in. We're gonna bring Paulette in. Krista, I'm gonna let her hammer out a few more before I have to bring her in. So she's not gonna get too many more out of the way though. Oh, she's hungry, so she's not gonna get like any more out of the way. We're gonna bring her in. Where's Katina? Oh man, that was close. Hopefully she's gonna make it over here. So it looks like the dogs are running, which is good. That's what we want them to be doing. And I'm going to use these girls as sort of lures to bring the other Scarabee to the traps. And hopefully they'll pursue, right? If I drag her even further up here, will they try to come around? And I think they will. But now they're through the traps, and we don't want Paulette hacking and slashing. We want her shooting, so I'm going to bring her back here. Alright, so the fences are now like down. I don't know that we're gonna have that much more success with shooting if the girls are busy stabbing, which they seem to be. So Paulette is back to shooting, which is what we want her to be doing. And she's got this one here and then these 2 large ones here that she needs to be shooting. So there we go. She is on it. I'm gonna undraft these 2 ladies because we don't need them to stay drafted. We do need Katina to be healing herself. And these guys are trapped, so Paulette's essentially shooting fish in a barrel at this point, which was the idea all along. So that worked. We were able to aggro them around to our side of the defense and to lure them to our traps. Injuries too. Paulette is injured and Katina is injured. So once Katina is done healing herself, actually Paulette I believe was a level 2 healing. She is. But Katina's already ready to heal her, so actually I'm gonna let Katina do it. Sometimes you run the risk of a low-level healer improperly tending a wound, and then they'll have like long-term ramifications. If Katina's already on it, there's no point in having Paulette treat herself, so there we go. And Krista is fast asleep, trying to escape the trauma of these massive insects that she now lives with. She's escaping into her dream world, her dream space. So we do have risk of meltdown Katina. I think we would realistically could expect a meltdown from literally any of the 3 ladies after what they just went through. Discovery of the cotton blossom, which is going to launch us forward in a couple different areas that we wanted to move ahead in, so that's really, really good. We just gotta harvest them now. And then Katina has reached healing 7. We are still insufficient though in our scavenged materials for completing the number of traps that I have laid out for us to complete, so that is TBD. But in the meantime, I think the ladies are gonna have more than enough to do to keep them busy and I am going to go back into our research queue now to see if it's possible to add insect fats to our list. And still not yet. We still have to harvest the cloth blossom, but once we do, this will finally become an option and we can add it to our research then. We're moments away from that, really. It's just a matter of bringing somebody out here to do it. We're gonna have Paulette come out here and harvest these for us so that we can move forward with the rest of that. We have not completed researching this green grass, and I feel like we're losing something here. So I'm gonna have her come back and finish observing that. We have in excess so much of the animal raw insect meat that we cannot use right now. So I'm not really bent out of shape about butchering the rest of these. I would rather continue our research so that we have the option to add using the animal insect meat to our queue. And these traps are also going to keep our dogs fed, because look at that. If we're going to continue having this issue where animals accidentally wander onto our traps, we're going to have a steady flow of food for our dogs as well. We have discovered green grass. That is great. That is exactly what I thought we were looking at out here, and now we have the option to harvest this. And if Paula is finished with her harvest, we should be able to finally add, at long last, yes, insect fats to our queue, which is great. So that's back on here. I think we were working on, or looking at working on, wooden fortifications. That would be lovely. We do need some antibodies, some pickling, and I would also really like to add to our queue the electronic grid, but I think we can stand by for that one. We don't even have the means to produce electricity just yet, so I'm not going to rush into it. I typically do rush into it because I am always so eager, but then I end up not using that technology for a long time. So I'm not going to push it. We can do other things. Speaking of doing other things, we need somebody to actually start planting these fields. So Krista, was she high in farming? She's a 3. That's right, she's the highest. So I'm gonna ask her to come over here and plant our grain cub field for us. And it would behoove us to also start farming the other type of grain grass. So I'm gonna go a step further and add here a grain grass field as well. We have researched long distance travel. I think we can set this to butcher, and that one's gonna need to be butchered as well. I know you're not biting my dog right now. Okay, no, they weren't. That's good. I'd have to hunt him down if he was. Trade colony ship. So this is the second one to ping us for trade. We are 13 days in, so we are just under our 2-week mark. Let's see if we have anything of value that we could trade to help earn us some money. We do have leathers, not many, but what we do have we'll sell. We have some cloth blossom. I would actually really like to harvest some more to really make this trade worthwhile. Again, these are going to come in handy. And we have lots of material to craft more. Since we have plenty out here in the wild to harvest, we can always make more. So I'm going to go ahead and add these to our list to sell. Where was it? It was down here. So we're going to sell the healing bombs because we can very easily replenish our quantity. And we are looking at 12,000, almost 13,000 units. I'm going to go ahead and accept this trade deal, but try and get a little bit more cloth before we load this up, just to see if we could trade even more. That's what I'm thinking. So if we could get a little more for our efforts, that would be great. So I'm going to come out here and harvest some more of this. And I'm going to take a look around to see if there's more elsewhere that we could also be harvesting. There is more out here, but it doesn't look like it's ready for harvest. It's not, so we're not going to be able to harvest those. We do have some right here. Also not ready for harvest. I'm going to mark these for mining though. And we have all of these glitter caps here that we could be harvesting. So I'm going to mark those as well. The silicone, a couple more spare rocks for mining. And I just sent her out here to harvest that. So wait, what did I just see? I think I saw manure. Yeah, we could be using this, but we need to first research it. Let's do that. It's gonna be great for actually crafting more fuel, which we're going to want for more trade. And I think we can start constructing. I'm gonna cut these. Constructing our house here next to the farm. This is where we're gonna put like our more permanent settlement. Mysterious calling. I've been feeling a sort of calling to the point just beyond the horizon. Some of the others have reluctantly shared with me they've had the same experience. Yes, so I'm going to put that on our queue to investigate, and that's something we'll get to once we have ourselves a balloon for travel, which we have researched, we just haven't built. Maybe I should build one. We should build ourselves a balloon. And a dartboard would not be amiss. We can put one there. And where are our ladies? 2 are sleeping, 1 is eating, and probably bound for sleep soon enough. We have discovered manure though, so that does mean we'll be able to use this now. I'm gonna actually add that to our crafting bench. So I'm gonna put it at the bottom of the queue, but we're gonna mark it for like forever. Just make it forever if everything else has been satisfied. So there we go. Because we did harvest a little more, just ever so slightly, a little more cotton blossom. So I'll be able to come in here and top this up, which pushes our trade deal over 13K. We're gonna update that, and we're gonna have to actually start loading the ship soon. So that is something to keep in mind. Everybody is chilly though, so I think what we need is for somebody to refuel this fire so that they can warm up a little bit. All right, so all of our scavenged materials has been going into these traps though, which means we haven't really had any left over for crafting weapons, which is why our weapons queue looks like this. Not enough resources, We have reached our limit with bows though, so I'm gonna take those off the table and arm our ladies. So she should be picking up a bow, and Krista should be picking up a bow, and now they are all ranged fighters. That is great. Okay, and how are we looking food-wise? We have 4 grain porridges and 35 emergency rations, and as far as resources go, we've got 60 grains, so that's gonna last us for a little while. We'll be able to continue making food, which is great. And we also have more farming options here with cotton blossom. So we're gonna go ahead and make ourselves a cotton blossom field, and I'm gonna extend this a little bit just to keep it all nice and neat looking. So we'll make that our cotton blossoms. Can't trade 10 of these because they were used. Oh no. Renegotiate. We're gonna have to come down on the things we're deficient in. So we're deficient in this, and we're deficient in leather. So we're updating. We're actually only making 12K now. I am going to have her load the trading pod. And all right, so trading pod is off, and we are going to make our first trade deal, and we are going to make some money. We're no longer going to be sitting on 30 credits. Katina's back at a risk of meltdown. I'm not surprised, but we have gained 12,000 galactic coins. Fantastic. We're gonna need somebody to haul these to our safe. We'll have her refuel, and then she can store undesired items, which means she will then move our galactic coins to our safe. We're gonna go ahead in here, and we're gonna take money off of the list so that the money will finally be stored in the safe where it should be, because that's what the safe was built for. We could technically do a second trade deal if we had more resources to sell, but since we do not, I'm not going to queue up anything else to trade. It would be a waste of fuel, and we're not going to do that. Starving animal, no! I told you guys I'm going to stay on it. We're going to do good. We're going to take care of these animals. They're not going to be harmed. Not by me anyway. I can't speak for the mobs, but they will not be harmed by me. She is working on some fuel fermentation, which is terrific. But I do have other things I would much rather she was doing. You know, the mining and the cutting. But yeah, I mean, they're all, you know, taking care of their individual areas of expertise, and I think that for being only 2 weeks in and having already made a profitable trade deal, they're doing all right. They're doing pretty good, and there's no reason for this to still stay starving because I've definitely put food in the trough. Like I was saying, everybody's doing good. We are at our 2-week mark. They're 2 weeks into their collective business as a family unit, and we've made our first successful trade deal, and I think that that is a terrific place to end this video. So stick around, join me for the next one, because we are going to build a proper settlement and get ourselves out of this rickety temporary fort. If you liked this video, please like this video by hitting thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe, because we are playing lots of Alien Stranded Dawn and exploring new seeds all the time. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.